Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this podcast. This is Learn Masterclass. I realized that if you're able to learn, then the L will be silent after some time. And I am joined by a great friend, and the conversation today is boss moves. Before we even get there, allow me introduce to you my good friend and brother and my senior brother, CEO Eugene Okanda Stephen. He's so many things to different people. At least for me, he's a brother. He is a CEO. He's a disruptor and a leader that is transforming every young person at a time. And probably I have not done justice to his introduction. Meet Eugene Okanda. Karibu sana.
Yeah, that's so warm, man. Yeah, every time I get introduced in places, I'm like, oh, by the way, ni mimi. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's boss moves. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys, for just tuning in. My name is Eugene Okanda, as Gift has ably mentioned. I am so many things. So where will I start? Let me start with the latest. So I'm serving as a pastor.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so recently got into pastoral work with CITAM. So I serve at CITAM Kangundo Road. Yeah, that's where I do my student pastoral program. But for the longest time, I've been running quite a number of programs. So I am an executive director and CEO of Unlock Young Leader Summit. It's a youth-led leadership organization. We train young people on issues of leadership, governance, and public engagement, but also personal and professional capacity building. And we have been doing that for the past. I've been doing that for the past 5 years. And the reason I say we is because I work with a team of about seven young people who have been helping me putting the thing together. But I'm also recently I founded and started off the Okanda Leadership Academy, which is a corporate training and consultancy firm. And it was born out of the conviction that many young people who had actually mentored and trained on 5 years ago were now starting up companies and they're starting up organizations, and they were calling me in terms of trying to do corporate trainings, but also institutions and organizations that were interested in the work that I do. So I've done quite extensively on that. And by God's grace, I'm also an author. I've written, I know you don't know this, but I've written 3 books.
I have seen them.
You've seen them? Yeah.
Public speaking, and then some guides.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So my first book I published in 2022? Yeah, 2022.
Yes.
2022. The Pressure of Being Gifted.
I served in that committee.
Yeah, you served actually that
Yes.
planning committee, the launch and all that. So the Pressure of Being Gifted, build up. And the second one is public speaking and communication hacks. So empowering people to beat the fear of public speaking, which is given this fancy word called glossophobia, but it's not really fancy anyway. So I've written that book, helping people communicate better. And the third one that I am yet to launch, but it's already done, is the episode of public speaking for a teenager. And I underscored that the problems and the difficulty of people speaking starts in the teenagehood. It's only that we mask that reality. So I also train young people and teenagers, for that matter, on public speaking and communication skills. And I'll be launching the fourth one. The fourth one will be coming up in May. Young and Bold. So Young and Bold, it's a mentorship book. I'll be turning 30 by God's grace.
Yes,
So
you're the background.
yeah. So the background. So this season I've been really thinking about what gift am I giving to my younger 20. And I've been putting together 20 lessons that I believe every young person in their 20s should make. So I've put together content and a book on Young and Bold. It will be out soon. So I'll be doing a conference targeting around 1,000 young people to just join me during my birthday as we talk and engage. Basically, that's what I do. I've been serving as the Kenya United Nations Youth Representative. Got an opportunity to speak at the UN General Assembly.
Saw that.
In New York, in Tanzania, UN Tanzania. Also spoke at Ethiopia, and also South Sudan. Quite extensively, just serving God in this globe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like 5 minutes of my time. And he's not yet done.
Yeah.
Really,
Let me take what.
Really great the work that you're doing. And even as we are underscoring the place of boss moves.
Yeah.
And while I thought about this conversation, I got the acronym B.O.S.S. B.O.S.S is Brand Optimization Success Strategy.
Yeah.
And all this that you're mentioning I hear so many things, and young people out there, they have so many abilities, but how to package that? I heard you mention when I knew you from Unlock.
Yeah.
And when you hosted kina Dr. Wale,
Yeah.
kina Pastor T,
Wahiga,
and I have seen how that transformation has gone
Yeah.
from one thing birthing the other and all that.
Thank you, man.
Probably would you just share? People can see Okanda right now and be like, yes, that is the person I want to become. Take us in a very snapshot.
Yeah.
How has been the journey? Probably since 2017, because I know that's where we met along the way.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. You know, someone asked me that question. We were just having some conversation, and someone asked me, Okanda, what did it take you to be who you are today? Mm-hmm. And I remember I leaned forward and I told him it took me everything. Wow. Everything. Literally everything. I was born out of the wedlock. I was raised in this family. I've seen what gender-based violence is. This one that we talk in the news is something else, and what happens in the ground is totally something different. And my mom had my pregnancy when she was still very young, and born in this family. I thought this was my dad until the age where I could put 1 and 2, and I realized, no, this is not my dad because of how he was treating both of us. So I used to see them fight so badly. And when I was a teenager, just in my pre-teenage, possibly, one day my stepfather woke up one morning, and when they were in tussle and battle, he took a panga and he hacked my mom on the head, on the left hand and on the right foot. And my mom was down on the floor, bleeding so profusely, and I knew she was dead. And that was a very gloomy day for us. And I remember I was on top of my mom's bloody body, and I knew everything has come to an end. It took the good initiative of the neighbors who took my mom to the hospital, hospitalized for quite a number of months. She recuperated and went to stay with the relatives. So I remained home as the elder son, and I started taking care of my own siblings. It was so bad because nothing was done to my stepfather. 3 days later, he came back home. Life continued.
Okay.
And I lived with that wound. To cut the long story short, all these things poured into my academic performance, performed so poorly, did my first KCPE. I got 199 marks.
Okay.
And hata kufika Ruabe maze. And I remember I was on call with my mom. My mom told me, I want you to go back to school, but if you cannot go study for yourself, I want you to go and study for me. It took that courage, and I went back to class 7, picked myself up again, did my second KCP, and I got 284 marks. My dad was like, my stepfather then was like, no, I'm not taking you to school. It was 1 month later, another 4 months, I'd already reported to school. I gathered faith, and I remember not even gathered faith. My dad talked to me so ferociously, and those words axed my soul. I took a rope, and I wanted to commit suicide at the back of our house. What? It was raining in the evening, and I took a rope, tied up in the backyard of our bathroom, and I felt like, God, let it just be the last day. I think I've had enough. And when I was almost about to release myself from that rope, because I can remember vividly, I had someone calling me. It was actually my cousin. So he called me, and my life is a miracle. So that's just to cut the long story, because all these things I'm sharing, they're actually part of my book, The Pressure of Being Gifted. By God's grace, I did not commit suicide, and I don't want to go into much details, but my grandparents, the parents to my stepfather, took the initiative of taking me to school, pushed myself through hustle and tussle. I've shared all that in the book, and it was so hard, but I finished my Form 4, and I got a B+ of 69 points.
From 196?
Yeah, from 199
Okay.
284 to
Then.
B+. So I get an admission to join Kenyatta University
Okay.
to do Bachelors of Science and in biochemistry, and I remember that's when I met my biological father.
Okay.
I met my biological father when I was 21 years old, and all that story is part of the book that I've written on The Pressure of Being Gifted. I'm really trying to avoid going much into that details, but I remember when I met my dad, I met him when I really needed him. I was empty of mentorship. This thing people talk about mentorship. At 21, I didn't have a mentor.
Okay.
21, I didn't have direction. Man, it was, though I had the excitement, I'm going to the university and all that. Met my dad. To cut the long story short, it was a moment of reconciliation. They had to reconcile with my mom and all that. And he became my friend, supported me through my campus journey. And it's been now 8 years of rebuilding that relationship with him. And my dad is my best friend. We talk quite a lot. So I've really cut a lot out of that story. But if you really ask me what it took for me to be who I am today,
Yes.
literally everything, man. Everything.
Blood, water, sweat, spirit, soul, body, bones.
Everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
This conversation is meant for young people that probably are giving in half energy and expecting full results. People putting their hand on the plow and looking back, or just putting one hand on one thing, the other hand on the other thing. Could be in terms of career, could be in terms of business, in terms of ministry, in terms of speaking, and all that. And from what I hear from you, it has taken you everything to put yourself into work.
That's right.
That is, I hear that as building a brand. Yeah. And we're talking about brand optimization, success strategies. Yeah. The key word here is optimization.
Optimization.
How do we optimize? How do we put in the work that is needed? For one to stand out and be like, if you're looking for a speaker, Okanda is there.
Yep.
If you're looking for a writer, Okanda is there.
Yep.
You want for someone sounding doctrine, Okanda is there. I believe this starts from a point of purpose.
That's right.
So, before you even delve into purpose, for you, give me a one sentence description of what is a brand and a personal brand for that matter.
I laugh because people are busy building brands, forgetting to build the person behind the brand. Because personal branding is basically what people say about you when you're not in the room. And you're the one to create the narrative. No one else is creating that narrative. You have to be the one holding the pen and making sure that you dictate how people should be talking about you in the room. The other thing about personal branding, basically, it's the legacy you leave behind. So if you don't have legacy that you're leaving behind, you don't have a brand. And literally, personal, branding that people talk about is more positive side of branding. But also everybody has a brand, whether it's a poor brand or a good brand.
Totally okay. I hear you, and the person, allow me to mention Elon Musk. Because people know Musk before they even know Tesla and all that.
Absolutely.
And he's one guy, of course, he has his own downside. As I said, there's the positives and the negative of a brand. It depends with values. Can we speak about values, even at the aspect of personal branding? Because most young people feel that branding is all about being on the social media. Saying, the LinkedIn way. I was here speaking to 2,000 people.
Thrilled.
I'm thrilled to announce that today.
And people have been thrilled for years. They should stop. They should change them.
It was thrilled being an audience. Like someone, how are you thrilled being an audience? And then it follows up. Whatever they are trying to explain to us what they picked, you realize they didn't pick anything.
That's right.
They just picked the thrilling. So, as one builds a personal brand, where is the place of values so that even what is seen on the outside is what is in the inside? That congruence.
Wow, that's a deep question. Where do we start? You see, values are built when no one is watching. You see, the first thing they do when they're about to start any construction, go to any construction site. What do they do first?
They dig deep.
No, that's not even the first thing. Any construction site, you'll find that they will sort of put on a wall.
The scaffold?
Not even the scaffold is when the building is going up.
The mabati.
Alafu wanaandika hapo if you crown it or whatever, crown it, if you love it, crown it.
Yes. Crown pin should pay us.
The first, in fact, they should. So the first thing they do is to hide. They hide, literally, even before they start putting the foundation. They put the fence. What does that mean? That anything that is a distraction should not cross. So you realize that, and many of us young people, we are caught into this because there's too much distraction. You have not gone into a hiding season where you are able to say, hey, I need clarity. This building is going to pick from this. Therefore, I need to make sure that I put on a fence. To make sure that you cut out any distraction. The second thing they do, they focus on their foundation. And of course, even before they do that, there's sort of the plan that the architect has already done for the building. There's the plan that has already been done by the architect, and therefore they start putting the fence, and then they do the foundation, and then the building starts, and it goes up, and so that should be the first mindset. So if you're thinking of the values that you endear, what do you do when no one is watching? When no one is watching, when that alarm clock goes 4 a.m. in the morning, those are the moments you build values. Because values is not what you post for us. Values is not what you tell us. Value is what you live. And you realize that if you're going to make boss moves, boss moves flow out of the conviction of your values. You don't say, I am a timekeeper. We have to see it.
We have to see time.
Yeah, we have to see timekeeping. Values is not something we lay hands and pray for you to have.
Well, Joel, I hear you say for us to grow up, we have to grow down. That gravitropism, that is growing down against with the gravity.
That's right.
Precedes phototropism.
Absolutely.
And most of us wants to grow up to be seen, but we have not grown the roots.
And you see the thing. You see, even Jesus said that
Unless
a house is built on the rock. You see, you have to do a bit of digging to find the rock. Rocks are not just found elsewhere. If you look at that concept, and therefore the thing is that if you have not spent time digging deep and asking yourself, because before you think of how high you're going to go, you need to think how deep should I go first? Because even when I was thinking about this discussion, I was asking myself, and allow me to mention this, there are no boss moves if there is no boss mindset. And you see, mindset is where your values are drawn. What is your theology of work? What is your theology of possibly even relationships? What does the Bible say about relationship? How does God sort of talk to you about how far you should build, and what are some of the key precepts that you need to put into practice? But also the thing is, and this has been my mantra, and I've actually been telling this to my team.
Yes.
We will not go to the next level. People don't go to the next level. People grow to the next level. There is no going if there is no growing.
So good.
So you realize when the season of growing is the season of how you need to understand what are the values that I need to endure and stuff like that. Yeah.
I hear you say that most of us want to have, but you have not done the work.
Yeah.
You have not done the work because you have not become.
Yeah.
So having precedes comes after doing, and doing comes after becoming.
Absolutely.
And becoming is when a seed grows down in the dark.
And it dies.
Most of us are so alive to our vision.
Yeah.
That we want to post. We want those invitations. I remember when I started doing whatever I'm doing with the teenagers, I was writing a few, what are they called, proposals to schools and all that. Yeah. Tell them, I can do this, I can do this. I had someone say, don't tell them what you can do. Let them see that you're able to do. And I stopped walking and knocking doors. Some schools I was chased away by security guards and all that. But when I focused on getting that boss mindset, then I realized I have to do when no one is watching. I have hosted teams and went into my pocket to pay for venue and everything. And when that has happened behind the scenes, people see right now, like earlier this year, I was called in to speak at Alliance Girls. Yeah. They were like, what are the connections? And I'm like, you guys were not there when I was growing down, when I was putting in the energy.
Yeah.
And the becoming, I feel, is the best.
Absolutely. And you see, hey, my goodness, something must die. Selfishness must die. You see, you don't realize you're selfish until you start building something. You don't realize how lazy you are until you start building something. You don't realize how poor you are with relationships and friendships until you start building a team. Because something must die in the course of building that mindset. And it's like swimming. It doesn't matter how much time you spend dancing around the pool. It doesn't matter how much time you spend watching other people swimming. If you don't get into that water, drown for some time, drink some water for some time, flip and flop your hands around for some time, you will never learn how to swim. Because it is during that period of doing the work that you start to instill yourself the values that you need to endure or to embody. You will never know the essence of time management, if you've never led a team and you've never asked for people to come for a meeting, those things, the education system does not teach us. You can have as many degrees as a thermometer, but if you're not doing it, if you're not literally doing it, you will be seeing other people doing it, because for them, they're doing it tired, they're doing it broke, they're doing it when they feel it, when they're doing it when they're not feeling it, because there's something they're building, the values that they're building.
And in that doing, they are becoming as well.
Absolutely.
Earlier this morning, I was reflecting. There is this common line that I'll keep clapping for others until my time comes.
Yeah.
And in that early morning 5 a.m. club, right? I was just thinking, is this the absolute truth? And I felt that statement is incomplete. Because if I sit and continue clapping and I'm not working, when will my time come?
Absolutely.
And I flipped it up around and I said, it's okay to clap until my time comes, but I need to clap with one hand, but be doing something so that people will see what I'm doing so that they can clap for me. What would you say to young people that are sitting on the fence, probably clapping for Okanda, clapping for Eben, clapping for the other friends, and waiting for their time to come?
Yeah, truly. You see, in the book that I'm currently writing, Young and Bold, there's one of the lessons that I've written there, because there are 20 lessons. And I've written there to every young person in their 20s, make sure you have an entrepreneurial mind. Desire to have an entrepreneurship mindset is not for people who are just running businesses.
Yes.
It's for people who are building something. And you see, if you're building something that is solving a community problem, you need to make sure that you have an entrepreneurial mindset. Why am I getting that? I heard someone saying that God did not give us tables and chairs, but God gave us trees. That's Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Yeah, sure.
And that statement has been stuck with me for quite some time. Stop praying for trees. Stop praying for tables. Get your hands on the soil and do something. You realize that your dreams, your destiny is waiting for you to do something about it. I've realized actually every miracle is an outcome of movement.
Okay.
If you are stuck and waiting, even the scripture actually says, those who wait upon the Lord, they shall renew their strength. Why should I renew strength if I'm waiting?
Okay.
It means in the waiting, there is something that you're doing. You're growing yourself. You're building capacity. You're finding opportunities. And one of the questions that people normally ask me, where do I start? Start volunteering. If you want to be a great public speaker, go to your high school, go to your primary school.
Absolutely.
Moderate a church service. You ask your friends who are having weddings and having birthday parties. Ask them, hey, can I be an MC in your wedding? Can I be an MC in your birthday party? I can't tell you, bro, how the many times I've done pro bono work. I've done pro bono work, my brother. And let me tell you, I knew what I was after. Because I was building the value. I was building the systems around that.
It was a boss move.
It was a boss move. So for every young person who's sitting on the fence, deal with your shadows.
Okay.
Deal with your shadows. Face the giants that you need to face. If you're still battling with childhood trauma, heal, man. Just heal. Because no one is coming to help you. You see, your family, if you're looking forward to get married, I don't want to marry someone who is battling with childhood trauma.
Okay.
Please do something about it at this time.
Yeah.
And it's actually one of the lessons that I've written in the 20 lessons, that seek to heal. The verb there is to seek to heal, because many people are not seeking to heal. And you realize that the reason as to why you're hiding and sort of sitting at the fence is because you are battling with doubt. Fear is speaking to you. The volume of doubt is too high. And you just need to turn that down and put yourself into the works. Yeah.
One of my great teachers, Bon King, who is the late, says, when a lion wakes up and an antelope wakes up, they all start running. One is running for its life, the other one is running after its life. So you have to run when you wake up. Most young people are waking up and they're like, I can't put in the work.
Yeah.
I tell people I wake up at 4 and they're like, for what reason?
What are you doing at 4?
But those are dark hours. Those are times for me to go grow gravitropic.
Yeah.
So that when it's such a time, when I'm growing phototropic, I did the work. And
It's
most
true.
young people are like,
And the noise is too much. The world is so rambunctious, man. And you just need to create time and space within those early, for real. And you see, it just matter because thank you, Holy Spirit. This is it. It gets to an age where you move from time management
Okay.
to priority management.
All right.
When your priorities are aligned, time will have to align. But because you're out of alignment and you're not sort of aligning your priorities, it becomes very difficult for you to be able to prioritize your priorities.
Okay.
You need to prioritize your priorities. I mean, so for you to be able to think clearly right now, what do I need to do? I know there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of doubt, but the question is, what do you have in your hands? You tell me, you're a Bible scholar. Tell me in the Bible, any person that God used, who God found them doing nothing.
Absolutely.
Tell me.
No one.
Even Saul was killing people. Look, we are not telling you. Okay, we are not telling you to go start killing people.
Okay.
But this man was doing something. So we better start doing something. Because if you're not doing something, even God is wondering.
It reminds me of the 4 lepers.
Yeah.
So, why sit we here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hata tusiende hapo. Unajua tunaweza turn this podcast to be a preaching session.
The first boss move that one has, and it's from the point of becoming, is purpose. Why should someone start? What is purpose for you? And what is that point you got and you're like, yes, I got a hand of it? Because I talk to parents, I talk to many people, and people at 40, they are trying to figure out, they think purpose is work where they are paid a paycheck. And I'm like, there's not purpose. You're here for the money, not for purpose. What is purpose for you, and when is this point, and how long have you been searching for purpose?
Yeah.
And probably just share, where's this time you had a grip of it and you're like, yes, this is it.
Man, it's so interesting because for me, I've come to realize purpose is something you stumble into.
Okay.
It's not something that you are born knowing, unfortunately. Because there are purpose conferences where people go to conferences to know their purpose. And sadly, some of them come from those conferences
Yes.
without a sense of direction.
They feel us speakers, we are scums.
And they feel speakers are scam. And for some of those speakers are scam. But because we do not tell people what purpose looks like. Bro, let me tell you, purpose come dressed in apron as work to be done. Purpose is not fancy.
It's not in suits.
Purpose is not in suits.
Okay.
In suit with a UN lapel.
Okay.
Purpose does not come in lipstick, in a lip balm. No.
And stilettos and all.
Purpose comes in people walking naked in the street, and it hits your heart so deep. It comes when you get employed into this work environment as the executive director. And you're there looking at these people who come to work without a sense of direction. And you say, I'm going to invest my life to helping these people find themselves. Purpose is when you're walking in the streets of Nairobi and you see rogue drivers and you say, no, I'm going to run a campaign to help people understand traffic rules. Purpose is when you get married and you know this is not a contract. This is a covenant that God has honored me with this man. And God has honored me with this number of children to raise the next generation. That God can so honor my womb to carry the next president. God has so honored my loins as a man to carry the seed of greatness for the next generation. When you come to that consciousness and you're able to find two things, meaning and fulfillment, you've hit the jackpot. Because the truth is, if you're not finding meaning and fulfillment in what you're doing, then there is the negative side of what you're doing. You're not finding purpose into it. And for me, literally, I came to know my purpose when I was 25 years old.
Okay.
Like, that's when I got a grip of it. And for all the other number of years, I was doing something that led to the thing. So, let me borrow the words of Bishop T.D. Jakes. He says, if it's not the thing, it will be the thing that leads to the thing. If it is not the thing, it will be the thing that leads to the thing. Now, that is too different from trial and error. It means every day you are living to find yourself. Because purpose has a clear connection with self-consciousness and self-awareness and connecting that truth about yourself into the problems that the world is battling with. So there must be a problem that you're solving that is connected to that purpose. If you're not bringing solution, there's a difference between purpose and personal ambition.
Ah, okay.
That one they can research. Or they call me for a conference as well.
All right. So, where we met in 2021, we were in this program together, GPRO, Governance Internship Program, that its mandate was to raise values-driven leaders. And I remember one of the tasks that we were given, and I really grappled with that, was the task to tell your purpose in a sentence. Yeah. You remember that one? Yeah. Where people say, I'm passionate about. And I fumbled around it. I literally took your purposes, you guys, and stitched it together. So I would say something like, I'm Ebenezer, I'm passionate about health service delivery in the Kenyan system. Like, I didn't really understand. And I really had to fumble around it. And as you say, one thing leads to the thing eventually. So for you, in a statement, what would you say it's Okanda's purpose?
Yeah, my purpose is to help people become better, think better, and do better.
Become better, think better,
and do better.
Be, do, have.
Yeah, that's my purpose.
Okay. As people are trying to find who they are, there is lots of self-doubt. For instance, I would have a feeling, and all of us struggle with imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
all of us.
And
even these camera people here.
or they're actually wondering if it will come out the way it will come out. And one of the things we really struggle with, and all of us, and I've had even Vusi confess of is that you have to always, that self-doubt.
Yeah.
And even when I was thinking about having this, I was like, am I the best moderator and all that? Will I hack and everything? What are these moments that cause you to really doubt yourself? When probably someone makes a call, what are these moments and how do you respond to them?
Yeah, that's a hard question, man. Cut? No. Well, for me, it's been every opportunity that has come in my life. I've never gotten a less opportunity.
Okay.
Even when I'm called to speak to two people, I always prepare as if, and this is something that God laid in my heart like 7 years ago. The first public speaking engagement I ever had was like 7 years ago. And I was going to preach, and I was going to talk to these young people in high school. And I was in my room, in my bedsitter room, and I just had a conviction. Prepare as if you're going to speak to 10,000 people. Wow. And until 7 years ago, I've never spoken to a crowd of 10,000 people. But I think I've spoken to close to, if you add that number.
Yes.
But it was, prepare as if you're going to speak to 10,000 people. I'm still preparing to get to 10,000 people. And you realize that every time I'm preparing, there is always this voice. Do you think you're enough? Do you think this is something that God has called you to do? You see, that question is not different from, did God really say?
Okay.
And you see that
the one in Genesis 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what that question led? Led to the sin of mankind. The term that we call disobedience. So every time that voice comes and tells you, do you think you are good enough? What have we been doing for those many years, for so many people? We say, no, I don't think I'm good enough, and we disobey.
So there is a direct correlation between self-doubt and disobedience. And we know the father of disobedience.
Oh, yes. And you see, that voice will always speak. The thing is, you need to live in this consciousness to challenging that question. Now, this is it for everyone who is listening to me. And this is how I've been dealing with that question. When that question comes, it's an opportunity for me to prove that indeed, God has called me for such a time as this. Not to prove it to the devil or to the person or to the thing that is asking me, but I'm really showing up as a son. I'm showing up as a son because I believe God has invested so much in me. And therefore, when I'm showing up, I'm not showing as Okanda, I'm showing up as a son.
On his father's errands.
On my father's errands. And you see, that changes the story. It doesn't mean that voice will not come. It doesn't mean that imposter syndrome will not be evident. But imposter syndrome, you can leverage on imposter syndrome to build your capacity. So when that call comes, you say, yes, I'm going to do that. Yes, I'm going to do that. Let me tell you, bro. And I pray the Spirit of God gives you the understanding to someone to understand what I'm about to say.
Okay.
When I know that is a call to my next big move, I say yes. Okay. No matter how big the responsibility is. I've been called to speak to executives.
Okay.
Me, speak to executives.
What are you even telling them?
What am I going to tell them?
Okay.
I've been called to speak to parents. Me, I'm not even a parent.
Don't even go there.
You know, I've been called to, I've preached to a service that is seated more than 2,000 people. Not once, not twice, but it's because I'm in my father's errands. And I dare not give audience to the devil and obey to show up in my father's errands.
I hear you absolutely.
And just let me finish up on this. I do it with my legs shaking. I do it with my heart beating so fast it can come out of my skin. Sometimes I do it tired. I do it broke. I do it struggling with my self-doubt. I do it while I am not in my good shape of mind, but I just do it.
You have to do it. And for me, probably to just weigh in is the Lord has helped me to just understand, while I'm doing everything, I'm doing it for the audience of one. That has always been my mantra.
Steep.
The audience of one. Like, even if we have 10,000 people, I know I'm speaking to one person. And the same way I will prepare for the one person, and the 10 is the same. And talking about even self-doubt, part of what I do is, when I deal with teenagers, I realize that the issues come from the parents. So I started speaking to parents. So before we started, we had shared about me being called into Alliance, and I was speaking to Form 3 parents.
Yes. Wow.
So I'm going to talk to parents about their kids who are teenagers. I ask myself, am I really sure that I'm the ones? I actually questioned the other person. What did you see that I am able to share with the parents? But I realized that so many people, and of course God first, they are voting for us. And we are the only persons that are going to the ballot box and voting for someone else. And that's how I feel self-doubt really manifests. That everyone else is voting for you. No, Okanda. And then when Okanda gets there,
vote against yourself. Kwani konini.
and I feel that part of self-doubt, of course, can be leveraged by knowing our value. But also number 2, which now brings us to where we're going next, is the place of proficiency. Mastering your craft.
Oh, goodness.
That it's okay that your father has sent you on errands, but he desires one to be faithful and competent servant.
Right.
Speak to that. What are some of the things that you have had to do to build Okanda?
So in the month of I read one book a month. Me, I don't pile upon myself. I don't read 5 books a month. Hizo pressure mingi. Your pressure niliachia Pascal na Sito Kodi.
Okay.
Watu wa physics wataelewa.
Yeah, sure.
Kaujui physics hiyo joke imekupita na ni sawa.
Yeah. Now to explain jokes.
Yeah, not to explain jokes. So in the month of January, I was reading the book by Stephen Bartlett and The Diary of a CEO, that 3 laws of business and life. And in law number 1, he talks about filling your baskets. And he talks about 5 things, 5 baskets that you need to fill, and you need to fill them in the right order. And that, I never knew that was what I was living until I read it in the book.
That awareness.
Yeah, and it was a divine instruction for me to read that book because Stephen Bartlett, you know him.
Yes.
That guy is 30 years old.
Okay.
30 years, and me, I'm stepping into my 30s. So it was a divine. So the thing is this, there's part of that book he says, if you want to master anything, do it publicly
Okay.
and do it consistently.
Publicly, consistent. Okay.
You see, publicly, you'll have to work on yourself. You've been talking to the mirror for too long. Start talking to people. We know you're building your public speaking skills, but you're not going to be speaking to mirrors. You're going to speak to people.
No mirrors have conferences.
Absolutely. So I want to challenge anyone who is in that circle. Record yourself. Do a 1-minute video clip every day and go open a TikTok account and start posting 1-minute video clip every single day. Do you know what? According to James Clear, the aggregation of marginal gain, out of the 365 days of the year, you're going to be 37% better. So if you give yourself a 5-year plan, it's going to be 5 times 37%.
It's around 160 something.
I'm telling you, that is a turnaround of your life. So you know when I started. I started my first leadership conference on a Zoom.
Yes.
It was not a mirror.
During COVID.
It was a Zoom. And it was attended by 8 people. And it was a free Zoom subscription.
Join, and you're trying to pester guys, please join.
Yeah, guys, please join. And let me tell you, 8 people joined. When we were hitting the 40th minute session that day, we were only 3 people, and they were my friends. And I told them, guys, I'm starting up something and I don't know how it will turn out. And let me tell you, they told me, just do it. Just do it. We did the second one, the third one. When I was doing the third one, it was in 2020. It was in 2020. I called Dr. Ezekiel Mtua, a man I honor, a man I really honor. And I told him, because I had hosted him when I was still in the university for a student leadership conference. And he came and he told me I'll come. I called Wahiga Moore and he honored our invitation. To cut the long story short, that thing I started in my bedsitter, in that small room, it has turned out to impact more than 25,000 young people.
Wow.
Out of the 47 counties, we have done sessions that young people from all the 47 counties have really participated, out of 18 countries. There's a year we did a student leadership convention, for African Student Leaders Convention. We hosted student leaders from 94 universities across 15 African countries. Do it publicly and do it consistently. You see, consistency is spiritual. Consistency is spiritual. And you realize that everything is against consistency.
God is the same yesterday, today, and...
God is consistent.
Okay.
Jesus is consistent. If you're not consistent, you're losing it altogether. And you realize that the natural proclivity of a human being is to always fall back or fall back into complacency, where you want to be good to yourself. You want, and we are, of course, I'm literally telling you to keep fit and to make sure that your mental health is stable, but don't sacrifice yourself. And you're not doing things because consistency is spiritual. So do it consistently and do it publicly. I'll tell you the truth, you'll master your craft. You will. People will criticize you, but you know what you're doing. People will say, I know sana kwanga na accent ya Kimeru. Continue speaking with that Meru accent until one day you'll be speaking fluently and you'll be telling people I struggled with accent, but I kept on doing. And speech therapists will tell you that accent will always respond to when you're consistent because your speech organs are lazy. They've been lazy because you've not been speaking. Therefore, you keep on falling back into that sort of accent. But when you keep on speaking, there's a way you start aligning your speech organs and you continue to get to an optimal sort of level.
All right. Consistency. Doing it publicly and doing it consistently.
And also fail publicly and fail consistently. Because your level of success is determined by your level of failure. If you're not failing enough, you're not trying enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like success and failure are the...
Oh, they're friends.
Coin. The other side is...
Yeah. Because it's not failure, it's lessons.
Okay.
You see, this guy who made a bulb, he tried doing a bulb for how many times? 1,000 times? Do you know what? They said, why did you fail 1,000? They said, no. I just knew 1,000 ways not to make a bulb.
And I feel like at times young people, we try out one day and nothing works. And... people are waiting to be good at something so that they can do it. And the only way to be good at something is do it so badly
Yeah.
that then you learn how it doesn't work. It works
Say
on
that
you,
again. Yeah.
and then you're doing it better.
Absolutely.
But most people, I feel like they just want to give half energy. And they're like, I have tried this podcast thing. It's not working. And hoping that for us on this podcast, we'll be very consistent.
Oh, we will be me, I'll hold you accountable. Where's John a podcast team? What's going on?
Because it wears something.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I learned this some time back. That even if you're bad, let's say I don't know anything about crypto. I know crypto, right? But I'm not a crypto like trainer or something.
Yeah.
But if today I start doing short videos daily about crypto and where people should invest, 1 week my friends will doubt me. 2 weeks they will be like, he seems to be knowing.
Yeah.
The 3rd week, the strangers will be like, there is this guy who talks about crypto. He's the right guy. By the time he's on the 66th day, people will be like, he can't be that adamant and he's saying the wrong thing. So slowly people will start coming.
Yeah.
And I feel most of us don't want to just be starters. Would you speak to the point of having a learner mindset? This podcast is Learn Masterclass. And I feel that most people want to learn, but they don't have a learner mindset. Where you are a novice, where it looks like you don't have what it takes.
You see, the world is a library. When you wake up every morning, you go for classes. You go to learn and study. And every great builder, every great builder, and I've repeated that like 3 times, was first of all a learner, was first of all a student. And you see, when you have the student's mindset, you appreciate process.
Okay.
Because success and sustainability of your gifting responds to process.
Okay.
And process is a place whereby you get sharpened, you get to start killing the wrong habits that you've been entertaining for quite a long time or for some time, because that bit of learning every single day keeps you fresh. So someone asked me, Okanda, how do you keep it fresh? Every day?
I am learning.
And I only read 20 pages of a book every day. So every day I'm trying to understand, how do I become a better public speaker? How do I become a better writer? How do I become a better at this and that? And then the other thing that you also do in terms of getting your learning mindset right is by asking yourself, where do I need to learn? Because it's not about learning, it's also about where are you learning. And then the third thing is, who are you learning with?
Okay.
You get, those are 3 different things. So what are you learning? Where are you learning? And who are you learning with? So what are you learning should be influenced by your self-identity. Who you are determines, by the who I am determines the books I buy.
Absolutely.
Me, I don't just buy books because they're fancy. I buy books because they inform my identity as a person and intentionality as a person. Secondly, where am I learning? Let me tell you, gift. And I'm saying this with a lot of zeal. Many of us are skilled, but we are skilled in the wrong environment. You see, and that bit of proficiency, it's not just about building your skills and mastering your skill. It's about, where are you skillful? Where are you sort of doing your craft? So where are you learning? The third thing is, who are you learning with? Accountability. If you're the only one who knows that if you're the only one who knows that you're cute, possibly you are not cute.
Oh, okay.
If you're the only one who knows that you are an author, possibly you are not an author. There's something about, and even when I'm training people on habits, I normally champion for accountability-based sort of habits, where you are accountable to someone. If you're married, be accountable to your partner. If your partner is not responding to your habits, get your best friend. But you need to get someone who is holding you accountable. I have this group of men around me. There are like 4 of them. So I meet with them occasionally, and we don't meet like every time. We meet when we want to challenge each other, and we just talk about how you getting your relationship right, how are you doing, and we ask ourselves hard questions, because it's about, who are you learning with. So if you're learning with the wrong person, you'll continue to get the wrong mindset. And this is it. if you're the only smartest person in the room, you should be worried. If you're the only person who knows and who is answering to questions,
Chances are you're not smart.
possibly you're not smart. Me, in my boys' club, I think I'm the dumbest. For real. Like I think I'm, and of course my boys possibly will not use it. But me, I feel like I'm the dumbest because the things we talk and we challenge each other, and you cannot. Whenever time you feel like you have reached the optimal, possibly you are not. Because the thing is that even when you're talking about optimization of your brand, it should, every season should be inviting you to face the next season. You should never stop learning. You should never stop challenging yourself.
And it feels like this season is a harvest time, yet a seed time.
Yeah, that's it. You've gotten it right. Because if you're harvesting and eating everything, you'll become a poor person in a short while.
So learning is sowing seeds presently.
That's it.
Like in the Kenyan context, there are comedians that have been on the game.
Yeah.
And I honestly feel like these guys keep honing their craft. The Rico Mondis, the Kinanjugush. Like those guys cannot go irrelevant. And I know if I would host them one time, they would speak to seed time.
You check Njugush, look at the count of the environment who Njugush is building with.
Yes.
The big six.
Very brilliant guy.
Look at that. Look at that. Every time you are the only one who is growing, possibly you're not growing. You imagine you're the cutest, you're the handsome man in the room, you're the most bright, but you are not. You meet with people and you realize you're dumb. And you go back to your house, you lock yourself up, you read, you budget, you say next month I'm buying a book. And you don't buy them in the streets because even the habit of buying an atomic habit book in the street is not atomic. Okay. Let me take water. I'm speaking too much.